Hi, friends. Thank you for joining me. My name is Osher, and you're listening to What's Not to Love, the podcast where I watch and rank romance movies. Yes, each week we watch, we break down, we critique, and we review a romance movie of my liking, all in the hopes that after seeing as many movies as possible, I can accurately determine and confidently select which is the best. Which at the moment, my number one choice is still The Notebook. It's still unbeatable, guys, and this movie isn't gonna change that. But still, like, as long as we know what the bar is, we can try to rise above. Um, how's everybody doing? What's going on this week? I just moved into my new apartment today, and that was nice. It's small, it's quaint, but you know what? It gets the job done. I was. Do you ever like when? Oop, I'm bumping into stuff. Do you ever drive back? Like, do you ever drive places and like on the ride you get so caught up in your head that you're just thinking about other stuff, and it's like you get from point A to point B, and once you're at point B, you're like, oh, I'm here. I felt like that after I drove home from my new apartment, and I was like, I don't know, I was just thinking about like I don't know, I was pondering, and then when I got back I was like, oh, I'm here, and then I made nachos. And that was nice. So yeah, I'm gonna feel those nachos later, but it's nice now. I enjoyed the nachos, and I got a little lemonade. I also I got a lemonade from Dunkin', and I realized if you get a cherry limeade from Dunkin', it tastes like Minute Maid. It's just Minute Maid. It tastes exactly like Minute Maid, the fruit punch. So like, I've been getting a lot of those lately, and I'm like, what is it about this that tastes so freaking good? It's because it tastes like Minute Maid, and I need to stop drinking them because I'm pretty sure that like, I think I'm getting close to the age where it's like you have to stop drinking so much. You have to stop consuming so much sugar. But I feel like I'm right on the brink. So like I can just enjoy it as much as I can, and then it's going to be over really soon. I went out with my friend the other day, and we got like a dessert, and it was like a cake or something, and we were eating it, and we kind of looked at each other and we were like, we can't do this anymore. Like this is it. This is, you better live it up right now. So I am living it up, guys. I'm living it up. This is my last. You better, I mean, at this age, I don't know. I don't know, just enjoy the sweets while you can, because soon enough it'll be over. So that's what's been going on. That has nothing to do with romance movies, but that's what's been happening lately. Um, yeah, I mean, you're very familiar with what we're going to talk about today, because it is the title of this episode. So without further ado, I mean, let's begin. As you read from the title, the movie that we are going to be reviewing today is the 2007 film Why Did I Get Married? Like many other Tyler Perry originals, the movie branches from a similarly named original play. The movie description, according to Letterboxd, states, and I quote, eight married college friends plus one other non friend, all of whom have achieved middle to upper class economic status, go to Colorado for their annual week long reunion. But the mood shifts when one couple's infidelity comes to light. As secrets are revealed, each couple begins to question their own relationship. I feel like that is a horrible description for this movie. This is the first time I'm reading that. Yes, like, yes, that is true, but I feel like that's not really the kicker. Like, I mean, I guess that one person's infidelity does make everything come to light, but that's not the whole point of the movie. The point of the movie is that like marriage is crazy. Not this crazy, I mean, because it's Tyler Perry, so it's super exaggerated, but still, like, the point of the movie is that marriage is crazy and that everybody has their own problems that they have to deal with, and like everything will come to fruition at some point that, like, it's all gonna bubble up and then you're just gonna have to deal with it. That's like the whole point of the movie. Um, but I feel like this doesn't encapsulate that. But I mean, it's true. It's true. The description is accurate. The description makes sense. Um, so the 113-minute drama that we are going to be talking about stars big names. Oh my gosh, it's a star-studded cast. Like the filmmaker and playwright Tyler Perry, huge name. That's the person who made this. That's the person who's going to star in this movie. If you haven't seen it, this is going to be a whirlwind for you. It's a big description of a movie. If you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about, because this movie is heavy. It's loaded. It also stars superstar Janet Jackson, and she is probably my favorite person in this movie. She's the easiest person to get along with this movie, one. And two, she acts her heart out in this. I think she's actually really great. Like there's a lot of things that's really problematic about a lot of Tyler Perry movies, and especially this movie, but she makes up for it. It also stars R&B singer Jill Scott. She is also a force to be reckoned with in this movie. We need more Jill Scott in literally everything. I want to make it happen. I need to become a millionaire so that way I can hire Jill Scott to do everything. And then it also stars the wonderfully hilarious Tasha Smith, who I'm pretty sure is a twin. I just learned that not too long ago. Hold on. Let me look it up. Clickety clack, clack, clack. I think she's a twin, right? Because I thought that I knew her from a bunch of stuff. And then I saw something where they were like, nah, that wasn't her. Yeah, she has a twin. She has an identical twin named Sidra Smith. Um, what was she in though? I'm curious now. Oh, I spelled her name wrong. You don't want to know how I spelled her name. Oh, she was in Sylvie's Love? We're going to talk about that movie, by the way, on this podcast. Sidra Smith, Sylvie's Love. I should probably turn off the ringer on my phone, too. I don't know if you guys were able to hear the ringer going off, but the ringer was going off. Oh. Oh my gosh, that was her sister. But you know what? I don't think most of what I've been seeing her in was I think that I was always seeing Tasha because she has such a personality that we are going to discuss in this movie. Um, the movie also stars a bunch of other people. I mean, a bit less famous, but still like big names, like Sharon Leal, Malik Yoba, Richard T. Jones, Michael Jai White, Lamont Rucker, and many, many more. Additionally, it was written by Tyler Perry and directed by Tyler Perry, who is most well known for his Medea movie series and his most recent films such as The 6888 and Straw. I don't mean to be a Tyler Perry hater, but I'm going to be a Tyler Perry hater today. Um, Actually, no, I'm always a Tyler Perry hater for many, many reasons. The 6888, I didn't watch the whole movie. I watched half of it and I hated it. And then Straw, my family saw that movie and I heard terrible things about it and I didn't want to watch it. The main thing about Tyler Perry is that like it's an opinion that I have and that many other people have, and it is that he profits off of the suffrage of black women. Suffrage? I don't think that was the right word. Suffrage is like voting. The suffering. he profits off of black women suffering. Like he just makes movies about black women going through everything, and then he's like, dollar bills, y'all. That is not acceptable. Why do we keep letting this slide? I mean, every once in a while he is funny, and he is kind of funny in this movie. But oh my gosh, he has got to stop because it's probably some of the best representation that we get for black people and at least black women in movies through his films. And it's like, oh my gosh, we need somebody to get out there. Who's the guy who made Sinners? Um, you think he can do a romance? Who's the director? Ryan Coogler. Y'all think he can write a romance? You think he can direct one? I'm gonna need him to get on it like yesterday because right now all we've got is Tyler Perry, and ugh, it's making me sick to my stomach. Y'all feel that? Um, all right, so once again, just as a reminder, the movie follows 8 college friends in their married adult lives. So there isn't much of a protagonist in the movie. It just follows these 8 people, but please bear with me as I describe the movie, as there are going to be a lot of names and descriptions, but I will do my best to keep them distinctive. Um, and then in addition to that, there are a lot of talks about intimacy in this movie that I slightly am going to skirt over because there are aspects of this podcast that I don't want to discuss because like I have a job. Short to say, I this is a side quest, guys. This is something that I do on the side. So like I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. um yeah, I feel like you should understand what I mean by that. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna describe the movie scene by scene, and if this is something that you don't really want to hear, you can go ahead and skip. But I feel like this is probably the most entertaining part of the podcast, and it's something that I need to discuss. But I'm also gonna do it as fast as I can. So like in the last episode, I tried to do it quickly, and I wasn't really good at it. But I'm gonna try again this time, and we're gonna see if I can go much faster and make it much more interesting. Because you know I planned it out a little bit more this time. We're just gonna see, guys. I'm playing this podcast by ear. Like I don't know. If you like it, you like it, and if you don't, you don't. All right. So the movie starts with a aerial view of a college campus, and it's a woman who goes, "Are there any questions for Miss Agnew?" And some students start replying to the person who asked that question. And it's revealed that it is a college campus, and inside is a lecture, and the lecture is being led by Patricia Agnew. So she's speaking to a college class, and she's talking about this book that she has, and the book is titled, "Why Did I Get Married?" Patricia Agnew is played by Janet Jackson. We just know that this first scene starts with Janet Jackson. She's leading this class, and she's talking about this book that she has. So we're guessing that she's like a guest speaker for this class. And the book itself is about Patricia and her many friends who, once a year, go on vacation to strengthen their marriage, which is such a stupid idea. It's such a stupid idea because then the vacation is for building the marriage. I feel like it invites bickering to happen because it's like this is time for us to work on things. And it's like I don't want to work on things with you guys. If I'm going somewhere with my friends, I want to be on vacation. What makes you think that I wanted to work on vacation? But that is the plot of the movie. Also, the fact that we're talking about vacation again, which the last movie was about vacation. Do they know how to make romance without doing vacation? Possibly not. Um, so the scenes after this cut to introductions of Patricia's friends. So in the first scene, there's students in the class and they're asking about the book. And by describing the book, Patricia then describes her friends. So this is where we are introduced to the couples in the movie. This is the part where I need you to bear with me. I need you to understand who is played by who, what they look like, kind of the vibes that they give off. So the first couple that is introduced is Terry and Diane. Terry and Diane are played by Tyler Perry and Sharon Leal. So we know who Tyler Perry looks like. Who we know what Tyler Perry looks like, and then Sharon Leal in this role, she's a bit more reserved. She looks very corporate. Tyler Perry plays a pediatrician, and Sharon Leal plays a lawyer. And in this scene, they are in the car together, and they are driving to said vacation. Diane, as a personality trait, she works a lot. So she's on the phone and she's in the car. And Tyler Perry playing the role of Terry. He is desperate for Diane's attention. So as she's on her phone, Terry is like, "Come on, we're on vacation. Why don't you just like give a little and we can talk to each other?" And she's like, "I'm busy. Do you not see me doing my job?" And together they also have one daughter. So that is the first introduction that we get. That's the first couple. That's Terry and Diane. The second couple that we see is Sheila and Mike. Sheila and Mike are played by Jill Scott and Richard T. Jones. And the way that they are getting to this vacation is that they are taking a flight. They are boarding the plane in the scene that we see. And the way that Sheila and Mike are characterized is that Sheila is a much larger woman. Her character, basically her entire personality is that she's depressed and she's fat. That's literally it for Sheila. And she's getting on this plane, and as it's such a terrible scene. It's please don't get me started on this scene. She's boarding the plane, right? And as she's boarding the plane, her husband is the most insufferable person on earth. He's like, so Sheila's boarding the plane, and she has this friend with her, and the friend's name is Trina, and Trina is played by Denise Boot or Butte. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but Sheila is boarding the plane with her friend Trina and her husband, Mike. And they're being girly. They're being girls. They're gabbing. They're talking about, oh, like, we're going to do this on vacation, girl. We're going to find you a man while we're on vacation. They're getting on the plane. And Mike is like, "Are you guys going to talk the whole time?" And it's like, "Mike, we're getting on the plane right now. Shut up." He's already got a bone to pick. But they're getting on the plane. And then as Sheila sits down, a man becomes aggravated at the size of Sheila sitting on the plane. And the man is so annoying, but he gets up and he goes to go talk to a flight attendant. And we don't see what he says, but he's basically just like arguing with the flight attendant. And the flight attendant comes forward. He comes up to Sheila and he goes, "Ma'am, you're going to have to get a bigger seat for the plane, or you're just going to have to get off." And she's like, "I don't have a bigger seat." Mike, her husband, asks her to get off the plane and go drive. So she gets off the plane. Sheila gets off the plane. And she's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna drive to the location." So far, we've got two couples. We've got Sheila and Mike, and then we've got Terry and Diane. Sheila and Mike, so far, you can just tell that they are the worst couple that we are going to be seeing in this movie. Um, the next couple after this is Angela and Marcus. Angela and Marcus are played by Tasha Smith and Michael Jai White. To describe them, Angela is a taller black woman. She always has her hair done because she is a hairdresser in this role. And she always has a snappy outfit. Like, she looks good, but she has a big mouth. She's a very mouthy person. If she doesn't like something, she's going to speak up about it. So the scene that we're introduced to with her is that she's taking the train to get to this location for the vacation. And by the way, I'm sorry if I didn't say this before, it's winter time. So they're going on a winter vacation. They're going somewhere up in the mountains. They're going up in the mountains, and she's on this train, and she's being mouthy with some person that's sitting next to her. And it's like this person that's like a yappy dog or something. And he's like, can you tell your wife to be quiet or something? And Angela's husband is played by Michael Jai White, and her husband's name is Marcus. And Marcus's personality is that he is an adult man with a mohawk. He's an adult man with a mohawk, and he is a former pro football player who apparently got injured. He got injured, and now his like career is over. But like, he played for only 2 years, so really, like, what did you do? But now he works for Angela. He works for his wife, and he just works at the hair salon. Which, I mean, the turnaround on that, to be a pro football player and then now you're working for your wife at the hair salon. Oof. I mean, yeah, like, walk him like a dog. Marcus also has children with another woman, and that's everything that you need to know about Angela and Marcus. So Angela and Marcus, they are a couple that constantly bickers. Angela, she, like I said, she walks him like a dog. She's like, you're successful because of me, and you've got that stupid baby mama. Like, I don't need you in my life, but you're here because of me. And he is so fed up with her. So that's their whole relationship. So one more time to recap, we have Angela and Marcus, the hairdresser and former football player couple that bickers all the time. There's Sheila and Mike. Sheila now has to drive to get to her location because she was kicked off the plane for being too fat. Um, and then there's Terry and Diane. Terry, who is the pediatrician, and Diane, who's the lawyer, who does not want to be intimate with her husband. And then the last scene where we are introducing the final couple is Patricia. So remember Patricia? She is the person who is leading this lecture about her book that's called Why Did I Get Married? A student at the end of the lecture goes, so how is your marriage? And in the aftermath of what happened in your life, and she goes, I'm so sorry for your loss. The student says that to Patricia. And as an audience watching the movie, we have no idea what the student's talking about. So we can just know that so far, all we know about Patricia is that she has gone through a dramatic loss, and she has written about it in her book called Why Did I Get Married, amongst like also writing about her friends and their marriages. But the lecture is then interrupted right at the end when a man walks in, and that man is Patricia's husband, Gavin. And he goes, Patricia, we're going to be late for our flight, which is so inappropriate. If you're doing a job and your significant other walks in to tell you that you're late to be somewhere else, it's like, girl, do you have no time management? But anyways, I guess that's just what happened. And Gavin is played by Malik Yoba. So that is the fourth and final couple, Patricia and Gavin. And we don't know really what they do, I don't think. I mean, Patricia does psychology. Oh, no. I'm sorry. We do know what they do. Gavin is an architect, and Patricia does psychology, and she writes about marriages and things. I guess she's a writer, and she's very successful for it. So everybody at this moment is on their way to this vacation that they are all about to have in the mountains in Colorado. It's a winter vacation. So now Patricia and Gavin are leaving. They're going to go take a flight, and they're going to get to Colorado. Now we can start moving a little faster because we know everybody. So we have, once again, Patricia and Gavin, who are the writer and the architect. We have Angela and Marcus. They fight all the time. Angela's a hairdresser, and Marcus is a pro football player, former pro football player. Sheila and Mike. Sheila is just fat. Mike is the worst human being on earth. He's basically like, I don't know. I can't, like, who's the worst person on earth? Who is the worst person on earth? Like, I want to say Trump, but like, I want to get worse than that. On this planet right now, who's like alive, who like really sucks. He's like Andrew Tate. And then there's also Terry and Diane, who is Terry's the pediatrician and Diane is the lawyer. And Diane is not intimate with Terry whatsoever. So upon arrival, Terry and Diane are the first people to arrive, and they meet the sheriff, and the sheriff's name is Troy. And by the way, in case you didn't know this, but like I felt like this was a given, everybody in this movie's black. So they meet Troy, and Troy is like automatically, it's kind of crazy because Troy is a sheriff, a black man in Colorado, up in the mountains, all by himself in the dead of winter, and it's like, why is he there? But he is, and that's his whole like that's his whole arc. We know nothing else about Troy. He's basically just a smiley face. Uh, Soon, Diane falls asleep after she and Terry arrive because she's been so overworked. She works all the time. And while Diane is sleeping, Terry answers her phone, and it's her job. And Terry goes, "Hey, do me a favor. Don't call. We're on vacation." That's strike one, honestly. That's strike one in watching this movie. I cannot believe that he would say that to her job. He's right. Yes, he's right that this is their vacation, but he's wrong to do that without telling her because it is a job. And if you're trying to make some money, like, who are you to be answering my phone? So after that, after Terry and Diane arrive, then come Patricia and Gavin. And Patricia and Gavin, remember, that is the writer and the architect pair. Patricia is the one who wrote the book, Why Did I Get Married? So Patricia arrives, and once again, this is played by Janet Jackson and Malik Yoba. And when they arrive, Terry makes some comments about uh, how their life has been going so far. And Terry's like, at this point in our life, remember we were supposed to have children. And then he kind of stops himself and he goes, oh. And we know that something happened in Gavin and Patricia's life, but we don't know what it is yet. Um, it's also revealed soon after that Diane and Patricia used to be roommates in college. So that's how they all became friends. But the point is that they all went to college together and then they all got married. So soon after that is when Marcus and Angela arrived, and Marcus and Angela, they are the couple that is always fighting. So they arrive and they are automatically bickering. They're fighting about the ride that they had there. They're fighting about getting there. They're fighting about everything about their relationship. So after they arrive, Sheila, we now see scenes of Sheila who has to get up the mountain by herself. Sheila, once again, is played by Jill Scott, and she has been left by herself to get up the mountain, but the road is closed, is what we find out. So after we get this scene of Sheila trying to get up the mountain, we see everybody else kind of waiting for Sheila and Mike to arrive. And Angela, who is the woman who always complains, Angela starts griping about Marcus's baby mama drama. Um, and Marcus then decides that he is going to talk to Terry in private. And as he's talking to Terry in private, once again, Terry is played by Tyler Perry, and he is the husband who feels like he doesn't get any affection from his wife, Diane. So Marcus and Terry are talking to each other, and Marcus reveals to Terry that he has a sexually transmitted infection from another woman, which is bonkers. Like, the fact that you would go on vacation after this. He currently has it, by the way. He currently has it and he's on vacation. Strike two. Like, I don't know how many strikes I'm gonna get in this movie, but like, just strike two. He comes on vacation and he confides because Terry, remember, Terry's a pediatrician, so he also knows medicine. And so like he's like, Mike, he's like, Terry, I've got this problem, and it's also because I've been with somebody else. And Terry is like, you absolute idiot, your wife Angela is gonna kill you, because Angela is so mouthy. It's like she's either gonna like rip your head off or she's gonna like, I don't know, rip your head off. Um, so finally, Mike and Trina arrive, and Mike and Trina were the two that were left on the plane. Remember, Trina is the friend of Sheila, and they arrive after they got off the plane, and they don't have Sheila with them. So everybody is like, where's Sheila? Because Sheila has to drive up the mountain by herself. And everyone is shocked and angry at Mike. And Mike is like, hold up, hold up. She needed to drive her big self up the mountain by herself, which is a crazy thing to say. It is a crazy thing to say. And I don't know why they didn't just shoot Mike right there. But they let him in the house. They let him in the house. I would have, I don't know. We would have had to like gas his room or something. Like, what are we going to do to smoke out Mike? For some reason, they weren't focused on that. I feel like that was priority number one. Um, But they go on and they let Mike stay. Not only do they let Mike stay, but they let this random girl, Trina, come into the house. And the only person who really has an issue with it is Angela. Because, Angela is the mouthy one. So as soon as she sees Trina, she's like, why are you here and why is Sheila not? And Angela is the best friend in this movie because she is the only one who really speaks up about what is going on, while everybody else is like, let's mind our business, mind our business. There is no business to be minded. Um, so after this, inside, the girls decide that they're going to go easy on Trina. Patricia and Diane are basically just like, we're going to mind our business because Diane has so much going on with her job. And then Patricia has, like, I don't know, she's got her psychology book stuff. But Angela, her whole personality is the fact that she yells at people. So she's like, Angela says, I'm not having it. And she's like, I'm going to start some mess. I'm not going to let that girl come up in here and make my friend Sheila walk. So Sheila, the next scene that we see of Sheila is that she is still driving up this mountain. She's driving up by herself. And the only thing that's powering her to get up this mountain is the strength of gospel music, which that is a huge theme in any Tyler Perry movie. But it's also a huge theme just like in the character of Sheila's life. Uh, and that's the way that it's written. So she is the only thing that's really helping her get up this mountain is she's like, I gotta listen to some gospel. There was like this scene where this moment where a sad song started to come on and she was like, and she changed the station. So she's still coming up the mountain. There's a scene after this where everyone is relaxing. They're drinking cocoa and wine while they're waiting for Sheila to get there. Sheila's driving in the dead of night in snow. Poor Sheila. Like, this movie is actually about Sheila. So they're all drinking cocoa and wine and they're outside and they're in their little coats and the furs and stuff. And I'm like, go get Sheila. Go help Sheila. So in this scene, Gavin announces, who is the wife of Patricia, Gavin announces that his wife Patricia is getting an award for her book in DC. And the book, Why Did I Get Married, is, it's going to be, they're going to have an event for it. And they want everybody to come to the event because the book is basically about all of their friends. But it's during this scene that there is more bickering that takes place between Angela and Marcus. Just again, as a reminder, because I want to make sure that we're clear, Angela is the one who is very mouthy, and then Marcus is the one who's the pro football player who kind of takes it on the chin, wherein his wife yells at him. Which Patricia, being the psychologist and writer that she is, she tries to cool it down with some therapeutic advice, and Angela is like, this is not working for me. Rightfully so, though, because I think it's so annoying, not only coming from like the perspective of trying to fix other people's relationships, but just trying to like help by being so I don't know, like, don't read me. I don't like being read. I don't like that. So Angela points out Trina and Mike because for some reason Trina and Mike are still there. Trina is the friend who wasn't invited for one, but for some reason she's here. She wasn't invited, and for some reason she's hanging out with Mike, who is Sheila's husband. And Sheila is still trying to get up that dang mountain. So it's like, why is Mike, one, not out there looking for Sheila, who is his wife? And two, why is he flirting with this girl? Why is he even hanging out with her? Why is he even talking to her? So he's talking to Trina. And Angela is the only one who notices and says something about it. And she points it out because they're being all whispery and secretive in the corner, like giggling. And they're like, you don't want to join the conversation? Like, you see everybody here talking, we're having cocoa. You guys are being flirty and weird in the corner. You're adults, not children. This isn't middle school. Buck up. And she demands that Trina joins all the women in the kitchen. She goes, let's all go in the kitchen. We're going to make dinner. And Trina's like,
I am so not a woman for the kitchen. I'm going to stay and hang with the boys.
Oh, no, you gonna come and bring your ass in the kitchen where I can see you.
and I love that. I love that. Angela is one of my favorite people in this movie. She's a little annoying at times, but really, like, we need her. We all need a friend like Angela. So outside, while the women all go inside to go cook, the men are now here, and the men start talking about them, start talking amongst themselves. And it's together that Mike reveals that he's been cheating on Sheila. Obviously, for one, Mike once again is the guy who's with Sheila, and he left Sheila to go get up the mountain by herself. And now he's been hanging out with Trina for some reason, and whatever. I don't even know why this was allowed, but Mike reveals that he's been cheating on Sheila. And then it's also, while all the men are talking, that Terry, who is the husband of Diane, Terry, the one who feels like he isn't getting any affection from Diane. Terry reveals that he hasn't been intimate with Diane since the birth of their child, which was like 10 years ago. And Mike says something that is so funny in the scene, and he goes, "You're gay." And it is the funniest delivery, and it's so glazed over, but I'm like, oh, even though we really hate Mike, he was so funny for that because he's right. It's either you or it's Diane. Or like, why did we not explore the fact that like Diane might just be asexual? But like, they really just didn't want to talk about it. He said you're gay. Um, so after we now know that one, all the men now know that Mike is cheating on Sheila, and two, that Terry hasn't been intimate with Diane. So like, there's nothing going on between Terry and Diane. Their relationship is at a crossroads. Diane is just too busy with being a lawyer, and Terry, he wants to have another child, but Diane is like, have you lost your mind? So here, while they're in this circle, all the men, Marcus reveals with the group that he has an infection, uh, and it's supposed to be in secret that he shares this with the guys, which is such a stupid idea because it doesn't serve him it doesn't serve him anything in the end. I got why he told Terry because Terry is like a doctor and maybe he can help him, but like, why would you tell everybody else? Uh, so soon, is this the same scene after? Hold on, let me let me check. Oh no, okay, this is the same night. So in the same night, in the cold darkness, by herself, Sheila stops at the sheriff's office because it's snowing. She's in the mountains. She's alone. She's scared. Sheila stops at the sheriff's office where she meets Troy. And I made a note about this. Troy's acting sucks. Troy is played by Lamont Rucker. And I don't even know if it was the first scene of him or something, but like his whole, maybe they just didn't give him any personality. Every moment that he has in this movie is him being like, hey, I'm Troy. I'm the sheriff. I like you, girl. Troy, give us more. Give us anything. Give us anything. Troy is like, I get who he is, but like, it's such a Tyler Perry cliche. Like, Tyler Perry loves writing about these like hero men who have no personality except for the fact that they're black and they're suave. And it's like, give me more. Give me anything. So Troy, she meets Troy. Sheila steps out the car, and I also like thought about this as I was watching the scene. But it took Sheila like 15 minutes to get to the door when she gets out the car, and it really made me laugh out loud because I was like, "Dang girl, you've been walking forever." I think they really just wanted to like build the runtime because like the music, if you should go stop and watch the movie and like go skip to the scene where Sheila gets out the car because it is absurdly long. It's like a 1 minute and 30-second shot of her just getting out the car. I'm like, we could have cut this. Uh, but she gets into the sheriff's office, and this is where she meets Troy, the sheriff, and he lets her sleep in one of the cells for the night because he's like, it's too dangerous. You can't go up there. The road is closed. You can't get up the mountain. Back at the cabin, the couples are all trying to go to sleep, but their marriage troubles are things that keep them awake. So they're all like, I guess Terry wants to be intimate with his wife Diane, but Diane doesn't want him. Diane puts her foot down and she's like, this is not happening, not tonight, not ever. Um, Angela and Marcus are at a crossroads like they always are. They're just constantly arguing, especially about the whole baby mama situation. Patricia and Gavin have a little discussion about children, and Patricia's like, I don't want to talk about children. So clearly we know something sad happened with Patricia and something happened that had to do with children, and we don't know what it is. But that night, after all of them try to go to sleep, Angela overhears Mike, who is the husband of Sheila, who is trying to get up the mountain. She overhears Mike creeping into Trina's room. Trina, once again, is the only person who is single on this trip. And why is Mike creeping into Trina's room? So now she sees that, and now Angela knows that Mike is cheating on his wife. Like, she thought it, but she didn't know it, and now she knows because she sees him creep into his room that night. So the next morning, everybody's having breakfast. And there is this funny line of, so like the scene that happens is that everybody's making breakfast and stuff. The women, of course, because I don't know, the patriarchy. The women are making breakfast, and Trina comes in because she's single, and I guess she's the one who's a little fast in this movie, and she doesn't cook or anything. So she comes into the kitchen like all the men, and she starts to eat, and she's like,
You belong in the kitchen.
and Angela makes the funniest comeback by saying,
And you belong on a corner. Need a pimp?
and yeah, I love that scene. I think that Tasha Smith is a force to be reckoned with as an actress. She is hilarious, and I wish we could see her in more things that aren't by Tyler Perry because oh my gosh, I want to see her in an Oscar-winning movie. Um, so at breakfast, the girls ask where Sheila is, and Mike and Trina just kind of brush it off. They're like, "She's fine. She coming up the mountain. She driving." It's like you should not have been on the plane. You should not have been on the plane without Sheila. But eventually, Sheila, oh no, no, I'm sorry. Before this happens, Angela starts to get on the defensive because she gets angry about the fact that Sheila still isn't there, and she calls Trina a trick, and everybody just starts fighting. Did you guys hear that car? That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, too fast, too fast. Slow down. You in a residential area. Um, so soon after, they're having this argument. Sheila walks in with the sheriff who's Troy, and Sheila finally made it. She's finally here. She came up the mountain by herself. She slept in a jail cell that night. Sheila comes in and she makes a comment about Troy. Uh, and how, sorry. Sorry, I read that wrong because I made notes about what happened. She makes a comment about Troy being single, and she's trying to egg Trina into being with Troy because Trina's the only single person there, and for some reason Sheila is like daft. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't know that her husband is cheating on her, and she's like, "Oh, Trina, you should get with Troy. Troy is single." And Trina's like, "Okay, girl. Like Trina, you're sleeping with her husband." But anyways, she tries to get her to be with Troy. So in the kitchen, Diane gets a call from her job, and she then realizes from the call that her husband, Terry, told her job not to call. And this is something that now upsets her because it's like, I'm on vacation, but I'm still working. And the fact that you told my job not to call me is something that you should have told me about. Um, so then in the next scene, the girls all go shopping in town where now everybody's here. We can all go shopping. And in this scene, we get a little bit of character development and we learn things about the characters. Something that's important is that the discussion about children puts Patricia on edge. Patricia is the person who's been writing the story, once again, who's played by Janet Jackson. She's the one who wrote Why Did I Get Married? And she's on edge anytime that we mention children. So we know something happened with Patricia and children. And then we also learn here that Sheila blames herself and her weight for her bad marriage with Mike. Mike is the worst. Every chance that he has in this movie to make fun of Sheila's weight, he does. And I just need to bring up that Jill Scott, no matter what size she is one of the most gorgeous women on earth. Like she is the moment. The fact that we are pretending that Jill Scott is not like, wow, she is the sun. And then also they put her in the most frumpy clothes in this movie. I get that she was supposed to be like depressed in the beginning and like that's what's driving her weight, but they put her in this raggedy wig and I don't know, this like it's like beige, like what's the color? Burgundy turtlenecks and stuff. I'm like, ugh, it wouldn't matter what size she was as long as we gave her a cuter dress. But that's the plot of the movie. So we know that. So she blames herself for her weight and how bad her marriage is with Mike. Back at the cabin that night, Sheila, she buys this silky white dress and she decides that she wants to impress Mike. And like she walks into the room and she's like, "Mike, I thought you might like it." And Mike is so foul. He makes fun of her and he calls her the cow that jumped over the moon. And then he says stuff like this.
You could lose about 50 pounds. Then I might be somewhat attracted to you.
Tyler Perry writing this, we need to find his office and burn it. Just know that if arson happens at the Tyler Perry headquarters, it was me because of this movie and everything else he's ever written. So after this, we have a scene of Terry and Diane, who's played by Tyler Perry, and Sharon Leal, and they're trying to go to bed. And Terry reveals to Diane, he's like, "Hey, I want us to be more intimate. I want us to have more kids." And Diane is like, I don't have time. Stop talking to me. I think that Diane actually just hates Terry. Terry sucks. And honestly, he's gay. So let's just let's just keep it pushing. We know this. We know this much. The next night, everyone has dinner together, and this is a huge scene in the movie. Everybody has dinner together. It's literally everybody in the movie, and Troy is invited too. Troy, the sheriff. So he's invited. So the only two people, single people at the table, are Troy, who's the sheriff, and Trina, the girl who's basically not invited, but she's here. Um, and Troy is sitting next to, oh, I'm sorry, I wrote that wrong. Troy is sitting at the table next to Trina, and because they're the only two single people there. Um, Mike, who is the husband of Sheila, who has been cheating on Sheila with Trina, becomes jealous of the sheriff sitting next to Trina, and he makes a dig at him. He makes a dig at the sheriff about how much he makes, and he's like, that can't be much, like being in such a desolate place." And Sheila is like, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna have to excuse my husband. Don't say stuff like that." But she just, like, again, she takes it on the chin. Um, but Angela, being the friend who takes notice of this stuff and speaking up, she uses this as an opportunity to start an argument. And she's like, "Why are you so upset about the fact that Trina is single? What is it about that makes you so angry?" Angela also in this scene has been drinking a bit much, which is a big personality trait for her, and it's why she also has a big mouth. So, as she is drinking so much and as she is egging on Mike, is when she just decides that she is going to reveal everybody's secrets at the table. Um, and she reveals the secret and she goes, "You know what? I'm gonna say it. Mike is cheating on Sheila with Trina." And Sheila's like, "Huh?" And it's like, "Sheila, I want to support you, girl, but wow, you like you gotta have a thick head not to notice this." So in opposition, Mike is now angry. He's like, "Angela had no room to say my business, so I'm gonna say everybody's business." Mike then reveals everyone's secrets, and it's crazy. So what Mike says is, one, Terry got a paternity test for his daughter because the fact that him and Diane haven't been intimate for so long makes him scared that his daughter isn't even his. So he reveals that for one, and Diane is like, "Whoa." Two, Mike goes, "Diane also has her tubes tied." She can't get married. I mean, not get married. She can't have children, which is like, now Terry is like, "What?" Because he tried to be with her and he wants to have another child, but it's like, it wasn't going to happen anyways. Um, then Mike reveals that Marcus has an infection caused by another woman. And Angela is like, "Wow, wow, 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 wow. I cannot believe that." And then Mike reveals one more thing, one more secret, which is that Gavin, who once again is the husband of Patricia, who is played by Janet Jackson, who is supposed to be the writer in the movie, Gavin blames Patricia for the death of their child. And now we know why Patricia is so upset about the thought of children. He's like, "Yeah, Gavin came to me and he was like, how could she be so careless? How could she be so reckless about the child?" And it's like, wow, everything is now out in the open. So the big thing that we just learned also is that Marcus has been cheating on his wife Angela because he has an infection. And we expect for Angela to be super shocked about this, but really, she just starts laughing about the whole thing. And she actually explains in the craziest part of the movie. I think this is really crazy. She explains that the reason that he has an infection is because she also cheated. So they've both been cheating. And basically, like, the infection circles back to her. like she caused it. And then the most wild thing that you can think of happens next. Try to think about what the wild thing could be. Go ahead. No, 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 it wasn't wild enough. Because the next thing that happens is that Marcus, Angela's husband, the former pro football player who now works at a hairdresser, at a hair salon, he reaches across the table and starts choking Angela. And the whole table just breaks out in screams. Everybody's screaming, a fight breaks out. And the only cop who's there, the sheriff, Troy, he tries to like break up the fight, but he sucks at it. He's the world's worst sheriff, and honestly, he's not that great of an actor. So like, he's got nothing going for him. Troy now has to like break up this fight. After everyone leaves the table, now because like a fight broke out and like everybody's been separated. After everybody leaves the table, Sheila and Mike are the only people left. Sheila, who now knows that her husband Mike has been cheating on her with her friend Trina, who was for some reason invited here after Sheila had to go drive up the mountain by herself in the dead of winter. They're the only two people left at the table, Sheila and Mike. And Mike looks at her and he's like, I want a divorce and I'm gonna leave you like nothing. He even like, it's not revealed in this scene, but it's later revealed that he takes all her money. He leaves her with like, she said something like he for $47 in her bank account. Why have we not shot and killed Mike? And I'm so serious about this. I'm so serious about this because, well, what happens next, I feel like isn't even enough. It should have been more. But what happens next after this is like Sheila just kind of takes it. She sits at the table like really quiet, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take you for all you're worth. And I'm gonna be with Trina, and I'm also gonna sleep in this house tonight." So Sheila, she takes a wine bottle and she smashes it over the back of his head, and that's the end of the scene. Like she doesn't fight him or anything. She just smashes it, and he just like passes out. And he's fine. Like he's okay. He just has like a big headache after that. Um so then after this, the couples all go home angry, and for some reason Sheila isn't arrested because I guess Troy understands where she's coming from. Troy, the sheriff, I guess he understands where she's coming from, and he decides not to arrest her for smashing a bottle on her husband's head, even though everything about that scene was literally domestic violence and they all need to be in jail. But the couples all go home and they're all angry, and uh, but for some reason, the only person who's still left on the mountain is Sheila, and she is left with Shara. She's left with Sheriff Troy. Um, and Sheriff Troy decides to try to make her feel better because he saw the dramatic scene where where she broke a bottle over Mike's head. And he decides to take Sheila to look at a view off the top of some like cliff or something, where the snow looks really pretty. And this is a really great scene. Actually, I think it's probably one of the best scenes in the movie because um why am I blanking on her name? Oh, Jill Scott's acting here is like, she's magnificent, and she really makes you feel for her because she's so distraught about what happened to her, and then also she talks about her relationship with God, which I think is, it's something that makes it so personal to her character, so it's very intimate, the experience that she's having. Troy is, he brings nothing to this scene though. Oh my gosh, he sucks. He's like a robot. um but there's this great part of her where she says the line,
I have no life without him.
uh and Troy just, he replies to that and he goes, it's a great time for a new start if you want to stay. So he wants her to stay in Colorado, which is sweet, but I'm like, just last night she broke a bottle over his head. Why are you asking her to stay right now? Because it also introduces him as like a romantic arc, and I think that was a choice. Like right now, we want to talk right now. Yes, but like let it dwell, let it cook. Um so right back after this, back at home, Patricia and Gavin are finally starting to talk to each other. Once again, Patricia's played by Janet Jackson. Gavin is played by Malik Yoba, and she's the one who is writing the story, the book, who has already wrote the book, Why Did I Get Married? Um, so back at home, Patricia and her husband are finally starting to talk to each other because things are all out in the open about the way that they feel about the death of their child. And Gavin tries to show his wife Patricia a photo of their son Noah, and she doesn't even want to see it. Like there's this part where she's like cutting vegetables in the kitchen, and she doesn't even look at the photo. And I think Janet Jackson is so excellent here at masking her emotions because she pushes on, so she pushes on in such a like a we must kind of way. Does that make sense? Like she's very, I don't want to use the word robotic again, but she is robotic. And I just wrote a note here that says Janet Jackson is excellent here. Like I love her, and I wish that I could also see more of her. She then after that recounts the incident of what happens that night, and it's really for expositional purposes. Like it's to just help us as as an audience understand, which is kind of late in the game and really doesn't make any sense because it's like Gavin would already know, her husband would know. But it's a nice scene because they're very intimate and they cry together. Everybody snap it up, snap it up, snap it up, snap it up. Excellent scene. Probably the best scene in the whole movie. The rest of the movie can go in the garbage can. So after that, we get a clip of Angela and Marcus's baby mama drama, which we really don't care about, but it is a redeeming scene for Marcus, who really just like sucks. Marcus kind of just like doesn't do anything because like he's the character who's like, I had a pro football injury, it's why I'm out the game, but we really don't care. Like, go get a job. And that's what Angela has been saying the entire time. But we finally see a lot of their drama play out because we get to meet the baby mama. And all the girls in this scene then talk on the phone, all the girls that have been in the movie, and they start talking on the phone to complain about their lives. And they realize on this phone call that Sheila has decided to stay on the mountain in Colorado after you know what? I'm gonna say what it was. It's that Sheila drove up that mountain and she said, I am not driving back. She had to make her way up the mountain and she is not coming back down. So after this, Sheila now works at a shop on the mountain. She works in a store, and we are developing the romance between Sheila and Troy, the sheriff. Shira, they have a couple name now. They now are friends, and there's a scene that I hate. That is so ridiculous, I felt. And it's just a scene of Sheila thirsting over Troy. And it's so weirdly done. Okay, like the one part that I don't like about it, there's multiple things I don't like about it, but the one thing I don't like about it is that like they decide to like play like lustful music over little clips of Troy's body. And but the parts that they choose are hilarious. Like they chose like a shot of his elbow, and I was like, okay. And it made like Sheila seem weird because she's still in these frumpy clothes, and I'm like, that is Jill Scott, for Pete's sake, please. It's a ridiculous scene. Um, but they also introduced the idea of like Sheila might start working out with Troy because now she sees that like Troy works out. So they're arguing after this between Marcus and Angela, uh, between Marcus, Angela, and Sheila comes to a head. Oh, wait, did I write this wrong? Um, I wrote this wrong. I didn't mean to put the name Sheila. That's not right. The arguing between Marcus and Angela, the people who argue all the time, the couple that argues all the time, finally comes to a head when they start arguing in front of their house they're in public. And Marcus lays down the law to his baby mother, and he's saying that they need to get along, that Angela and his baby mama need to get along for the sake of their children. And it's something that's very respectable. It's late in the game. You're like, why don't you get a job while you're at it? But anyways, they decide that they're going to get along for the sake of the kids. And this is something that Angela respects. It's like a turning point in the movie. So the scene after this is that we get back to Diane and Terry, and Diane comes home to Terry, and it's Terry's birthday, and Diane has forgotten because Diane is so busy with her job, and Terry is just played by Tyler Perry, so he's always in his feelings, and we really don't care. So she walks in on Terry, and he's in the kitchen, or he's at the dinner table. I think he was at the dinner table, and he's having drinks with another woman. And that woman is his coworker. It's nothing intimate, but it's like, why are you alone in the house with somebody that is not me? Even though she's always working. So it's like, I don't know, you kind of did this to yourself, Diane. Diane threatens the woman, which is so awkward. It's the most awkward scene, I think. It like gave me secondhand embarrassment. Diane threatens the woman and she goes, don't come back to this house because she thinks that it's an affair. And the coworker is like, all right, girl. And she leaves. Terry sends his coworker home. And after that, Terry and Diane start arguing with each other while their child is upstairs. And their argument doesn't make any sense. I wrote a note about this too. Because Diane, she has no leg to stand on. After we reveal the fact that Diane has her tubes tied and it was a big secret, it's like, why is she still mad at Terry? Because everything is out in the open. There's nothing to still be angry about. Like, it should be clear by now. But anyways, during their argument, Diane's phone starts ringing, and Terry throws it at the wall because he's like, I'm sick of your job. And he then takes off his wedding ring and he goes, I'm moving out. And he walks out and he puts the wedding ring on the table, and it looks like the shot for like the cover of the movie. After this scene, we get a scene of the restaurant back in Colorado where Sheila is, and it's Sheila and I wrote the names wrong. I even mixed up the names. It's a lot of people in this movie. Sheila and Troy, the sheriff, they go to a restaurant together because they've been working out together. They've started to get in shape. And Sheila reveals at the table that she's worried about the hero syndrome, which is something claimed by like Dr. Phil, I guess. She's worried about the hero syndrome, which is that you fall for somebody who really helped you get out of a hole in your life, which I've never heard of, and I wonder if that's a real thing. But I don't like Dr. Phil because he supports Trump, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think he's a Republican, and I don't like Republicans. Um, so after she reveals that she's worried about the hero syndrome, that she's falling for Troy, she says this to his face like a loser. Uh, and Mike, I wrote the wrong name again. This is like I'm writing the wrong stuff. I'm confusing you guys. Troy responds to this, and he's like, "What if I feel the same way about you? Like, what if you're my hero as well?" Which is sweet. It was nice, I guess, but it was kind of weird. Um, and Sheila, she explains, she's like, I guess I kind of put myself down for my size because I've always been trying to beat Mike to the punch. She's like, I get like I'm ugly, I'm fat, I can't do anything, I'm depressed. And Mike and Troy responds and he goes, I ain't Mike. And I thought that that was a very nice scene. I thought that that part was pretty well done. I was like, ah, brava, bravissima. Is that the right word? I don't know. I don't know Italian. Is that Italian? I don't know. Uh, I like that part. But then he kisses her in the restaurant. Like, oh, they have like this 4-inch table between them. And he leans over and he kisses her in the restaurant. And it's so awkward. I hate the end of that scene. It's like weird. But I liked the part where they talked. Like, I thought that was sweet. So after that, Diane and Angela come to Patricia about their husbands. Diane and Angela are the ones that are still at home. Diane is the one who works all the time. Angela is the one who's the hairdresser who bickers all the time. And they come to Patricia, the writer, the one who's a psychologist, and they're like, we like our husbands are getting on our nerves. And Patricia is like, hey, just be vulnerable in your relationship. I talked to my husband, Gavin, about the fact that my child is dead. Which is really sad. But she reveals the fact that she talks about that and that it made things better in her relationship. So she asks the girls and she's like, why don't you guys make a list? And on one side, put all the good things that he's done. And on the other side, put all the bad things he's done. And when I saw that scene, I was like, no, I'm not making a list. That's dumb. Why would I do that? First, like, what does that solve? And why not meet me halfway? Like, it felt like the women had to extend olive branches, but I didn't. I don't know. I'm anti. I think men need to do more. So in the next scene, the men all go to a bar together, while the women, they're like doing women's stuff, I guess, by Tyler Perry standards. And there's basically only men at this bar. I was looking at the background of the scene, and I was like, are there any women here? Okay. And Mike in this scene, Mike, who used to be with Sheila, who cheated on Sheila, he says that he starts complaining about Trina, the woman that he decided to cheat on Sheila with, and he's like, Trina don't do nothing. Like Trina doesn't cook, Trina doesn't clean, and Trina steals my money. And I'm like, Trina is getting that bag. Why don't you stop worrying about Trina and start worrying about yourself? And he's like, I kind of miss Sheila. And everybody at the table was like, the one that you called fat and said that she looked like the cow that jumped over the moon. Like, I know you don't want Sheila back. It's wild. So back at home, Angela now decides that she's going to be cordial with Marcus. Um, and she makes him dinner. This is like the first time that we see Angela and Marcus not fighting in a scene. But Marcus being hilarious, he's actually pretty funny in this movie. He thinks that he's being poisoned. And they have this little heart to heart where Angela decides, she's like, hey, I'm being serious. I made you dinner. Like, I'll stop drinking and I'll be a better person to get along with. And that's like the end of their drama. And after that is a scene where Diane comes home to Terry at his apartment and she apologizes after like working so much. And she's like, I want things to work out. And for some reason, Terry's coworker is in the scene again. And Diane comes in and she's like, let's make things work. And Terry's like, okay, let's do this. And then he goes, my coworker's pregnant with twins. And Diane is like, okay, we can work through this. And then Terry goes, it's a joke. I'm joking. That was not funny. It wasn't funny. I didn't laugh. I thought he was serious when I watched this movie. I just rewatched it and I've seen this movie multiple times. I thought that he was dead serious. And that didn't make me laugh. And the girl who was the coworker in the scene, she's like, ha ha ha, that wasn't funny. And it's like, kill Terry. I'm on the team of we need to get rid of these men, which I'm going to talk about a little bit after I explain everything. It's just, it wasn't funny. So then in the final scene in the movie, but they agree they're going to be again, like they're gonna get together. In the final scene, it's the award banquet, and in the restroom of the banquet, Sheila comes out. And Sheila is now a smoke show. She's lost a bunch of weight, which made me think, did they put Jill Scott in a fat suit? But okay. Sheila comes out and she's lost a bunch of weight and she looks great. And she's wearing this new wig that still isn't that great, but it's a wig. And she comes out and she runs into Trina, the girl that her husband cheated on her with. I think I said that right. Yeah. She runs into Trina. And it's like awkward, but Sheila's like, the only thing I want to do is pray for you. She's like, I don't even want to hit you. I wanted to fight you, but now I just want to pray for you. And I'm like, dunk Trina's head in the toilet. Get her. Like, I want to see more fighting in this movie. There should have been more fighting. And it's Sheila rising above, but I think we need to go low. When Sheila then walks out of the bathroom, she runs into Mike, her ex-husband, and she sees Mike, and in this scene, Sheila and Troy reveal that they are now married. They got married in the mountains. And I'm this I started to wonder about like how much time has passed between here. Like it must have been like a couple of months. But still, that's like really, really fast for this like banquet to have be going on. Anyways, they're married now. So, and there's like a scene after that where Janet Jackson, Patricia, she does a speech for her book and everybody's very proud, and Mike tries to like make a pass at Sheila and he's like, "You look great. I'm sorry." And Sheila's like, "Keep that to yourself. You can stay away from me." I'm praying for you, that sort of thing. And then the movie just kind of ends. And that's the whole movie. It ends with Patricia saying like, love each other, love God, love family, love your husbands, love your wives, or whatever. And then like it wraps up in a pretty little bow. But then no, there's another movie, but I'm not talking about that today. So that is the end of Why Did I Get Married? I put one note under this movie for my thoughts afterwards, and that note says anything but romantic. This is so low on the romance list, like extremely low. The only romance that I feel like really exists is between Patricia and Gavin, the writer and the architect, uh, and then Sheila and Troy, the sheriff. Sheila having to go up the mountain is like how she ended up finding her true love, her true husband. And Jill Scott, once again, she acts her heart out in the scenes that she's in. Like she does an amazing job. She's great. Oh, I did skip a scene. There was a scene where like she's in the bathroom and she's crying and it's like her explaining everything that she's went through. It's a beautiful scene, I think. And she does a great job once again. Like we just love Jill Scott. I can't say anything bad about Jill Scott. But like it's not necessarily romantic. The one redeeming part that I really liked was like I like the part where Sheila and Troy were in the restaurant together and he was like, "I'm not Mike. Like I'm not a bad person and stop expecting me to be a bad person." I thought that it was very sweet. I thought that it put a good foundation for like who Troy is and like the role that he's going to serve in her life. But I wish that it could have been, who is Troy at all? And who is Sheila? Like we know that Sheila's depressed and that's why she's gained a bunch of weight, but we really don't like care. And nor do we for Troy. They're just like two people that are helping each other out of a hole. But like I want to know who they are so I can invest something into this. I think honestly the problem that this movie has is that it has one too many characters. We should have gotten rid of some characters because like the back and forth, if you even like understood anything out of what I just explained, you have got to have some type of amazing reading comprehension skills. Because well, that was even a lot for me. I started writing the wrong names. I was like Mike, Sheila, Troy, Diane, Marcus, who yeah, it was my thoughts anything but romantic. It is now time for a segment that I like to call Reddit for your thoughts. Reddit for your thoughts. Uh, this is so I couldn't find a lot of Reddit articles or posts, whatever, subreddits about this movie specifically, but I did find one by somebody named Tyrion Lannister 557 on r/character rant, and they wrote a subreddit, or what is it called? A Reddit post called "I really hate the way Tyler Perry writes his characters." And I totally agree, but I'm gonna read like a snippet of this and what they wrote about the movie. Um, let's see. So this says, any culture man reading this would probably know I'm leading up to talking about Why Did I Get Married. I'll admit, the first film is one of the few better films in Tyler Perry's filmography that I don't mind watching. The plot is simple. Skip, skip, skip. This being a Tyler Perry film, there's obviously conflict, cheating, infidelity, hidden secrets from one another. I'd like to add that that's what makes an interesting movie. So, like, I kind of don't mind it. It's interesting. But, like, it also needs to be grounded. But I'll keep going. The quote says, the primary couple work out the trauma they feel over their child's death. The beta couple realize they should give having kids a try, even though the wife really doesn't want it. And then they explain some more things. Let's skip, skip, skip. It says, obviously, the main couple, Gavin and Patricia, they're the OGs, got no problem with them. They are healthy and they have communication with one another. The way that they act toxic and secretive with one another, I was practically expecting most of them to break up. Marcus and Angela, the couple who cheated on each other, have their confrontation where they try to attack one another, and the next scene they're all back home and in the cabin and they're still working on their barber shop. That's a great point. I think that's a great analysis, because these things were really bad. Like, this is divorce level stuff. This movie should not be called Why Did I Get Married? It should be called Why Didn't I Get Divorced? When do we get divorced? Who's signing the papers? Can we get divorced? I don't know. Like, it needs divorce in the title, because, like, end it. It should, yeah. I'm going to read more. It says, for the sake of the drama, the characters were butchered. The only couple that actually seemed like they were heading for a happy ending and were able to properly communicate were suddenly getting a divorce! Exclamation point. Oh, that might have been a spoiler for the next movie. Let's see, what else can I find from this person's post? Let's see, I'm gonna look at some of the replies. This one says, I put Tyler Perry movies in the same category as Hallmark movies. They're entertaining if you can suspend your belief and enjoy a cookie cutter story with the same bland conflicts and the same tired humor. I'm one of those people. I enjoy Tyler Perry movies and I enjoy Hallmark movies. My critical thinking brain is 100% turned off when watching these movies. I think you're doing yourself a disservice by critiquing them. Tyler Perry doesn't care about the integrity of his characters. He cares solely about profitability. Drama equals profit. So if he has to destroy his characters to create drama, he will. Huh. And then Tyrion Lannister replies to that. My problem is that he has the audacity to act like he's a deep writer who thinks he's making relatable stuff for the black community. He isn't. Oh, they said he writes racist Hallmark stuff. Hot take, hot take. That's not a hot take. I totally agree. I 1000% agree with this review. And that other comment was by somebody named Ratchet Angle, by the way. Ratchet Angle. What a great username. The last part, and perhaps the most important part, is the ranking. So once again, as a reminder, I have to rank all my movies after I watch them, every single romance movie. And okay, I have categories. So the highest category is the all-star lineup. And that is not even close to the all-star lineup. All-star lineup includes movies like The Last Holiday, Dirty Dancing, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, Life as We Know It, Enchanted. No, not even close. The second category is movies that ride the bench, including Queen and Slim, Gone with the Wind, If Beale Street Could Talk, Where the Crawdads Sing, The Last Song. So they're great movies, but they're not my favorites. Next category is Junior Varsity, where we have movies like The Vow, Voicemails for Isabel, Remember Me, Juno, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, Princess Diaries. Like, they're romantic, but not, like, we're missing something. And then we get to the category of pretty bad, where we have movies like Age of Adeline, Avatar, which I'm going to count that as a romance, Moonstruck, ATL, Edge of 17, Am I Okay? Yeah, those movies are like, some of these aren't really romance movies, but like they fall under the categories because they had a lot of aspects of romance in them. I don't know, my list might need tweaking. P.S. I Love You, I really hate that movie. Never Been Kissed, that's in that category. And then the worst category is for movies like Tall Girl, The Kissing Booth, After. So I'm going to put this movie under the category of probably pretty bad. Yeah, it's in the pretty bad category. And I am going to slide it. I think it goes, I'm going to put it above Grease because it's got more romance than Grease. Yeah. Great Gatsby. I might have to move Great Gatsby. Somebody got really angry at me about where I put Great Gatsby on this list. I might have to move that, but I think it's above Grease, probably below Daddy's Little Girls. And I'm gonna say above Naomi and Eli's No Kiss list. This list is crazy. I know this list is crazy. Yeah, that's my final choice. So, what is this movie called again? Oh, Why Did I Get Married? Why Did I Get Married is now falling at number 132 on my list. And that is my final decision. I'm confident about that. And my decisions are decided off of a few things. One, is the movie dramatic? Does it give me drama? That's necessary. And I got drama from this, so I enjoyed it. So it has some level of like interest. Two, is there chemistry? And for that, I'm going to say no. I was not feeling the connection. Three, is there humor? Because you have to be able to laugh to enjoy, I feel. And I feel like that's, I don't know, this is a me list. I literally, like, I pulled this out of my butt. Is it funny? Yes, I did laugh at many things. Four, are they semi-attractive characters? And that's not just in terms of visuals. Like, it doesn't just mean, like, are you a hot person? It also means, or do you have qualities for you that, like, are charismatic? Jill Scott, yeah. The guy that plays Troy, he looks like a button. Um, 5, cliches. Now, we hate cliches, but we need them because they are things that we actually look forward to in romance movies. They're like, we hate them, but they're necessary and we want them every once in a while. And I'm going to say yes to the cliche. The cliche was like the woman being saved sort of thing. And I think I don't hate it. It just wasn't very well done. And then 6, the last thing that I have on this list, which this list might just develop, it might change, is does it have a large heaping dose of reality and unfairness? Does something that also really matters for romance is that it needs to feel grounded and you need to feel like, oh my gosh, I know how that feels in order to like resonate with the characters that you're watching. And I'm going to give that like a half point for this movie. Because it is like we get a lot of reality in terms of marriage, and I think that that was very well done, but it was so heavy that it was unrealistic. It's like for the crimes that these people did in these movies, somebody should have died. And it should have been Mike. It should have been Mike. It should have been Mike. Like, I'm watching this movie and I'm like, kill Mike. Kill Mike. He is the worst. Why did we even let him stay in the cabin? Why was he invited? I I don't remember what the second movie, but if Mike gets invited back, like there needs to be like a trap door in his room where we let the gremlins out at night and they eat him, like or something. I don't know. That's my idea. And that was Why Did I Get Married? That concludes this discussion of the film. Thank you very much for listening. If you've made it this far, if you're still around, please join me next time as I watch 2012's The Vow. I've seen that movie before. We're gonna watch it again. We're gonna do a little rewatch and we're gonna reassess where it is on the list. Which yeah, I feel good about. It's gonna be fun. In the meantime, you can find me on Instagram at WNTL Podcast. That's W as in water, N as in never, T as in time, and L as in loser. And if there's a romance movie that you're just itching for me to watch, or you're interested in joining me for an episode, just shoot me a DM. I don't bite and I'm not famous. I'm just unfortunately obsessed with romance movies. Bye now.